Today, I want to highlight a coffee that is different from any other coffee that I've ever experienced. Vietnamese Egg Coffee. The legend goes that fresh milk was in short supply in Vietnam during post-war 1975. And because fresh milk and condensed milk were scarce commodities due to the trade embargo, they decided to whisk egg yolk and use that as a replacement whenever making their coffee. And it turns out that adding egg instead of milk changes the beverage in a powerful way to be a unique and delightful experience. And dare I say, I'm going to say some of the functions of the egg in coffee could also be a leadership function for an action in our teams. For example, eggs help to clarify the coffee, allowing the grounds to separate from the water more easily. When egg whites are subjected to high temperatures, their proteins break apart and attach to other micromolecules that are in the liquid. This is a similar concept of tannins in wine and cellular material in cosme. In your team, you can provide more clarity within your teams. Whenever you're subjected to high temperatures or situations, separate what is necessary and what is excessive in that moment. Here's what you can do. You can find and separate the grounds from the liquid. And you can do that in providing clarity by asking one really big question. See, we know that complexity jades clarity. But a leader that I love following, Mr. Andy Stanley, tells us that if we ask this one really big question, it'll help provide more clarity as we choose to take action moving forward. And the question is this: is this the wise thing to do? That's right. It's that easy of a question. It's that simple. Is this the wise thing to do? Now, this is one question with 3 different parts. So the first part of this question is this the wise thing to do in light of my past, in light of past experiences, past knowledge, what I have experienced in relationships in the past? Is this action step a wise thing to do? It's the first part of your 3-part question. The second part is, in light of my current situation, is this the wise thing to do? Meaning, in light of COVID-19, in light of our current economic situation, some teams are booming, some teams are going through cuts. Every single team has a different present situation. So in regards to my present situation, is this the wise thing to do? Of course, the third aspect of our question is in regards to future plans, in regards to what I want to do in the future. Is this a wise thing to do? So in light of my past, in regards to my present situation, and in regards to future plans, is this the wise thing to do? If we ask these questions, we can actually gain more clarity in our action steps moving forward. So it's in these situations that we can filter out information and what communication and what factors are really important in our decision making. See, it's so easy to become overwhelmed by an influx of information, but be like the egg coffee and separate the pertinent information from the extra information. Also, in egg coffee, the egg whites extract the bitterness from the grounds as well as enhances the caffeine. So while the coffee brews inside of the pot, a concoction of grounds and egg begin to congeal together towards the top of the water, and the solids are separated. So this is actually called the hydrophobic effect. And basically, the egg whites enhance the acridness of lesser quality coffee. And they diminish the bitter flavor while also enhancing the caffeine. This is really, really powerful. The egg eliminates the bitterness of the coffee. Think leadership. It takes out the bitter and the pungent aspects of the coffee. But it's not just keeping everything light and fluffy. It's not taking out bitterness and being in ignorance. No, it's taking out the bitterness, and then at the exact same time, it enhances the caffeine. So it diminishes the bitterness and enhances the productivity, the effectiveness, or the caffeine of the beverage. And you can diminish bitterness in attitude and in mindset. And by this, I mean you set the stage for an offensive, proactive mindset, and rather than a defensive one. And at the same time, it's not just fluff. The two are generally complementary, but it's not always the case. So be intentional to enhance the effectiveness of your team dynamic. See, when coffee is made with the egg, the result is a light and clear brew with absolutely no bitterness or acidity, and it results in a velvety texture that is so easy to drink. See, the egg actually changes the entire dynamic of the beverage, and the change does not add more to the coffee. As a leader, sometimes it's so tempting to want to add more initiatives and more projects and more this and more that in an attempt to be more productive and more effective. But the reality is that all of the creamer and the sugar in the world added to a bad cup of coffee will not make it a great cup of coffee. It'll just make it tolerable. See, egg doesn't add. It filters through the bitterness and it separates the necessary from the unnecessary. It enhances the effectiveness and it results in a lighter and a more clear brew. Now, I know, this is a little bit of a stretch, but what if we sought to lead a little bit more like egg coffee? Here's two things that I want you to do for your team absolutely today. First, I want you to identify one way that you can help to filter through the bitterness and the more sour taste in your team. So that's your first thing I want you to do. The second thing is I want you to identify one way that you can provide more clarity within your organization. How can you take a complex situation and provide more clarity? Dare to lead like egg coffee. It is an excellent idea.